This Soonerscoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. Don't miss a moment on or off the field. Make every day a highlight with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIK.
Hello and welcome back. Eddie Radosevich, George Stoya here from the Soonerscoop.com studios on Campus Corner. We did it. We made it to OU Texas Friday. I'm sure that all of you now are gallivanting around Dallas or, wherever Commerce Street used to be doing that thing. But welcome in around the corner here and taking all your questions from the Crimson Quarter and adding a little bit more depth to them as we get into OU Texas weekend, George.
Yeah, it's been a fun week. I know that us over at Sooner Scoop have had a lot of content going up. Make sure you subscribe. $1 right now. You can sign up. So we've had a lot of stuff over there, availability reports, as well as my mailbag and answering questions and those sorts of things, and as well as some stories. Eli Bowen, I wrote about him this morning ahead of this game, which should be a big game for him. So great time to sign up right now. But it's been a heck of a week. Big circus week in terms of trying to figure out who's playing and not.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Join Soonerscoop.com and you get your questions here on Around the Corner. All right, let's get into it because there's plenty to get into in terms of the OU Texas game coming up this weekend, and we'll start with an AC question. Lou Sanus. Brent was talking about the new air conditioning for the indoor. Can we get Eddie and the Vince to check out practice diehard style? Yes.
I think we got to do that.
In fact, I think I would probably try to do that if I knew that there wouldn't be probably most likely a restraining order on the other side of that.
Well, you just have to be secretive.
That's true. Also, wouldn't be the first time that I've had a restraining order filed against me. You know what I mean? Huh? Catch? All right. That would be a good idea, though. And I would love to know what that thing feels like, because I know this is like super inside baseball, but we've been there for camps during the summer. There has been no AC. So I know that there hasn't been AC in the indoor center before
How
I
big
guess
are
this
those
last
vents?
week. I don't know. I remember when they were putting in the new AC, though, because they had all the construction over there at the Everett Center.
Bob Przybyla might be a better one to crawl through the vents.
A little bit more functional, probably, most likely. I think George just called me fat. All right, we'll continue on. The question's simple from Moneyball. Fine, I'll ask it. Is he playing or not? You know how sick we are that I don't even have to ask whom he's talking about. Is John Mateer going to play on Saturday, George?
Yes, I think. That is not based on information that we have. That is based on a just gut feeling.
It's been a constant throughout the week, though. I think that we can say that everybody that you talk to within the program right now, and maybe this is a little bit different than all the Jay Knott talk, but we did see a little bit of them in the Kent State game. It seems like everybody is saying the same thing or using the company line of there is an expectation for John Mateer to try to give it a go on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think also just the way they've handled their business this week, sort of the secretiveness around everything, the way Brent answered some of the questions about Mateer on Tuesday during his press conference, all of it kind of just points to me towards him giving it a go on Saturday.
No doubt about it. We will continue on. I believe a question about maybe young Jackson Arnold. Cat Juggler, would Arbuckle have recruited Jackson Arnold? It's a good question.
It's a really good question.
I would say yes, because I
think he was regarded as arguably the best quarterback in the country. Right. So I do think he probably would have tried to recruit Jackson, and I think that who knows what Jackson's career would look like if Arbuckle were to be his offensive coordinator from the start. I mean, you look at Arbuckle's career, every quarterback he's coached has gone on to be pretty damn good. So maybe he's some sort of quarterback whisperer. But, I do think that and with him being in Oklahoma's backyard down in Denton, it would be kind of a no-brainer for Oklahoma to recruit him.
Yeah, very much hindsight, revisionist history type of thing there. But it would have been interesting to see what would have happened. And certainly being from the DFW area, as you said, Denton so close, you would have had to think that they would have thrown their head.
You would have definitely at least
ring.
called him, right?
Yeah,
and obviously offered him.
And I don't think that even Ben Arbuckle, as great as he is, or as great as we feel he is, I don't think anybody could have forecasted what happened with Jackson, and certainly still going through it down at Auburn.
Right. And I don't know if Jackson's going to win a lot of games this year at Auburn or whatever, but he still has a ton of talent. Like, the talent is there in terms of the athleticism, the ability to throw the football. Like, I think he's got the talent.
Even if it comes in glimpses, like we had seen here in Norman when he was playing at Oklahoma, then obviously upon the return with the Auburn Tigers. All right, we'll continue on. Believe it's a backup question from Bento60. Would you rather have J.A. as your backup or Michael Hawkins going into this game? They're coming with it this week.
I don't know, man. This is a tough question.
Does it come with all the experience that Jackson has?
I think so, and also just I think his ability to look. I think both of them are great runners, and that's the one thing that you really like about Hawkins. Jackson can do those same things.
Sure.
And we never really got to see Jackson in this game. His freshman year was Dylan, obviously, and they won. And then Michael last year was the guy in this game. We never saw Jackson. So I kind of lean towards Jackson maybe just because of his arm talent. Sure. But I don't think it's like an obvious answer. I mean, I think you could talk me into Michael Hawkins as well.
100%. I think I'm the same way. I might go with Jackson, and maybe it's just because I bank on the idea that he's a little bit older and has some more experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Michael has more experience in this game.
100%.
So
which has always been kind of important, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about the quarterback, and neither of these quarterbacks, it's kind of crazy to think that Michael Hawkins is the most experienced quarterback in this game going into it on Saturday.
That is wild. I never even thought about it. Even more than Arch and obviously Mateer.
Sure.
Wow.
That's why I said it. All right, we will continue on. I like these hypotheticals. Michael Jold, would you rather, and I thought this is a really good would you rather. Would you rather John Mateer plays and OU has no turnovers, or Oklahoma's defense sacks Manning 7 times and forces 2 turnovers?
I'm taking Mateer plays and OU has no turnovers because I think if that happens, OU wins. And I think if the defense had 7 sacks and 2 turnovers, they'd probably win as well. But I think if Mateer plays and OU has no turnovers, the defense could still have 7 sacks and 2 turnovers.
Sure.
Like I think that's actually a very real scenario that could happen in the game. Mateer, if Mateer plays and they don't turn the ball over, I would assume that means the offense is probably playing pretty well, or at least well enough to win the game. So I'm going to choose that option.
I think that's probably the right option of taking John Mateer, but man, 7 sacks, 2 turnovers. Maybe you're able to turn to those 2 turnovers into 14 points.
Yep.
Obviously, that would be
now if it said something like seven sacks, 2 turnovers, and a defensive touchdown, I might take that one. Because I think if you score a defensive touchdown, you're probably going to win the game.
One of my favorite parts of the OU Texas experience is about the 10, 15 minutes before kickoff when you get the bands out onto the field.
The
all
best,
that kind of
the
stuff.
best is when the Texas band comes down to the OU end zone and they do the little ba-na-na-na-na-na,
oh yeah,
and the OU fans
if
just
you've been,
boo.
you know.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're talking about.
That moment's the best.
And I start humming it throughout the rest of the day. This is our halftime, though. This is what I was trying to get to. This is our halftime. Just imagine a band coming out. But instead, we're going to tell you about our good friends over at Huel. And we've been telling you about Huel because we have all different things to speak on. George, you've tried a number of these products. I've used the shaker bottle and some of the Black Edition powder. The Black Edition powder, of course, with 40 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no added sugar, gluten-free, under $3 per meal, and ready to go in 60 seconds with this shaker bottle. You've tried out the green.
Daily Greens. Yeah, this is the peach and hibiscus. 42 vitamins, minerals, and superfoods, super greens. Lion's mane mushroom in here. 4 grams of fiber, 0 sugar. So this thing, it'll really get you going. I know Kerry really likes it too.
It's the lion's mane that's making Kerry feel like he's having a head rush. It's also the Black Edition powder that you can use, as we told you about, to get the items. All you got to do is go to Huel.com/SuitorScoop. Use the exclusive promo code SuitorScoop to get 15% off your purchase for new customers. Thank you to our good friends over at Huel.com. Got everything up in the brand new studio there, looking back on Campus Quarter. Everybody's starting to clear out. You can tell it's a Friday of OU Texas week when there's basically nobody on campus. It's been so long since I haven't gone down to Dallas. Kind of forgotten what it's like around these parts when nobody is here.
Surely kids are skipping class today. No one's going to class today. I guess school might be, closed today on a Friday, fall break. I'm not sure, but
that's the right thing, but
no one should be going
to
class, and certainly if they have class, don't go. But no one should be working today. If you're at work and you're watching us, what are you doing?
I would imagine there's going to be a lot of people. They should just put this on up at the big screen at Katie Ice House, which I'm sure is packed as we speak. All right, let's jump back into some of the questions. Red River fans, the Boz, do you guys prefer going to OU Texas covering it or as a fan? What do you miss most about going as a fan? I mean, this is simple. It's having like 25 wax cups of Coors Light or whatever beverage you may and being
Covering
completely
the game.
blackout for the entire day.
Yeah, covering the game after 25.
I don't think that I would make my way down to the field if I had 25 wax cups. I'll have 2 before the game, though.
I think we have some questions later about some of our best OU Texas stories, so I'll save some of that. But going out as a fan, as a student, was just top tier. I mean, it was the best.
Always had really
year.
Good seats as a student as well.
Well, and like the Friday night before, you always are like, we're going out, and you convince yourself that you're going to pace yourself, and you don't, and then you wake up and you feel terrible, and you go to the game, and then if OU wins, it's just like the greatest day ever, and then you go pass out back at your hotel, and then you go out again, right? And that drive back Sunday sucked, but Carrie said it. I did work as a student too, work the game. I love covering the game too, like the access that we get. I don't think I technically have access down onto the field, but I've snuck down onto the field after the game.
There is no cooler experience that I've had doing coverage of a game of walking down the tunnel that you can look around. And I don't know what it's going to look like now with all the renovations. I'm sure it's going to be about the same, but just thinking about how many years they've been doing this at the Cotton Bowl, walking down that same tunnel, that same ramp that some of the best players of all time did.
Yeah, the buses pull up, the guys get off, all of that's fun covering, but I mean, you can't beat going as. I mean, I just remember going as a kid, with my dad, and it's
awesome. 2 different experiences. I would say going as a fan and going as a member of the media.
I know for you, getting all your equipment and me carrying a backpack all the way through the fair, it's just a.
But I do like when people
sometimes
are yelling at us as we walk into the fair. That's always a cool feeling. All right, we will continue on OU Texas flip schedules. Wishbone Willie, one more. It's great that we're 5-0, but what do you think OU's record would be if we had Texas's schedule? How about Texas if they had OU's schedule with Michigan and Auburn? With Texas's schedule, I could easily see OU coming into the game 3-2. We haven't even played a real road game. Sorry, Temple. Texas, I guess, would prefer or would probably be 4-1 at least. So anyone thinking Texas sucks because of the record is sorely mistaken, especially given that they have to win this game. Buckle up. I would say I would pound the retweet button, Wishbone Willie.
Yeah, and I kind of presented this question early in the week to you guys in the War Room, and I think we talked about it on Unofficial 40 on Wednesday, but I think the most likely scenario is both teams would probably be around 4-1. You could convince me Oklahoma would be 3-2 with that schedule, just because if Michael Hawkins is the quarterback in the Swamp, I'd probably take Florida to win that game.
Sure.
And even with John Mateer, you could convince me that they would lose that game. I think Florida played extremely well. They're a good team. Texas, you could convince me they'd be 5-0. I think they'd probably be 4-1. I don't know which team they'd lose to, Michigan or Auburn, but I think they'd probably drop one of those in a close game. But I don't know. You could convince me the records would be swapped. So, and I think this is a very evenly matched game. That's why it's like, I know there's a lot of people that are confident Oklahoma can win this game. I think Oklahoma's going to win if John Mateer is the quarterback. But I think it's going to be very close no matter who's back there.
Confident. It's a great question, by the way. Yeah. Confidence is such a funny thing because if you were Arch and you were able to build a little bit more confidence,
if you were 5-0, you'd be feeling totally different.
The narrative around Texas certainly would be different.
What would I was playing this in my head. I was like, well, what would the line be?
If Texas was undefeated?
If Texas was undefeated coming in, I think they'd be favored.
And OU is what, 4-1 or 3-2?
Yeah, I think they'd be favored to be like 9 points.
That's what it was. That's what it was over the summer, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it would. It's kind of crazy how it's flipped, but still Texas is still the favorite.
Sure. I think it maybe would have come down a little bit, but I still think it'd be maybe around a touchdown if Texas was rolling the way that you thought it was going to. But then again, I don't think that anybody certainly figured into the equation that Oklahoma was going to have one of the better defenses in the country going into this game. That's what makes everything. And as we say all of that, it may not matter. None of it may matter because it's OU Texas, and you kind of expect anything to happen once these teams get onto the field at 2:30. Both teams are going to have to run the football. We know that, or they're going to have to try to at least put something on the field that is a form of some type of running game. But we're talking running game scapegoats, hypoflex. Say the running game does not get going, and it looks similar to what we've seen thus far. Where does the hammer fall next year? Already looking towards next year. You just want to fire somebody, don't you? Do they put it on a player personnel and get new dudes? Does the O-line get the blame, a.k.a. Coach B? Or is finger pointed at DeMarco Murray?
I mean, I hate answering this question because it's halfway through the season.
And they're the number 6 team in the country, and they're undefeated currently.
Yes, I think let's wait on this
Can
question.
we go fish on this?
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I think we have to wait and see how the game plays out and also the season before we do that. I don't think Bill Beanbo's going anywhere. I know there's some people out there that think he's washed or hasn't been able to do a good job. I actually think this offensive line has played about to the expectation what we thought it was going to be. I still think.
And outside of last weekend, we talked about the
pretty
numbers.
good.
You talked about it could be one of the better years historically from a pass protection standpoint. Outside of last week, they've been fantastic in pass pro.
They've given up 8 sacks this year. If they were to stay on that path, it'd be, I think, 19 sacks this season, which would be the lowest since 2018 when they won the Joe Moore Award. Now, that's not saying sacks aren't just an offensive line stat. I understand that, but the pass protection's been pretty good. Yes, the run game needs to get going. I do think the running back room is a little bit more of a what the hell's going on there, and that's kind of been an issue for a few years now. So they really need somebody to kind of be that guy and kind of get them going. And it's the Jaden Knott situation. At some point, either he's got to start being a star for him or at least a really good player for him, or else that's going to look like a really bad pickup in the portal.
I'm really scared to go to this next slide because are we really talking about coaching changes? JJF Portal Jag, regardless of the record this year, do you expect any changes at the position coaches, even if BV stays? What are we doing? Why are we talking about firing coaches right now, George?
Who is this?
If so, who might be looking for employment elsewhere? How about you, JJF Portal Jag? You look for other elsewhere.
Bring this up again. If they go 7-5, 8-4, even 9-3, bring this question back. We'll answer it at the end of the season. But right now, it's just hard pressed to be like, let's move on from coaches in the middle of the year. Look, Joe John Finley, I know people are upset with him because of last year. His room's doing pretty well right now. Obviously, they could be better. He's recruiting really well right now. I understand the frustration with DeMarco. I just addressed that. And Bill Beatembo, I get it. But also, he's recruiting better than he ever has. I think this offensive line's only going to get better as the season goes on. Let's not forget they're starting a true freshman left tackle in his 3rd ever game coming up this Saturday. I think that'll be his 3rd start ever. Right. I feel like he's done a pretty good job with this group so far. It needs to be better. I get that, but man, let's pump the brakes on firing people.
Only on the Crimson Corner could we be looking for people trying to fire coaches on a really good story, as it stands right now in college football with Oklahoma.
Someone's going to clip this though,
certainly getting back
when they lose and be like, "Oh, you guys are just."
Well, they'll have that, but they'll also have us on the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast probably trying to fire a coach if they go out and get beat on Saturday or don't look good so doing it. We move on. Goal line. Talk to David Stone, Grayson Holton. Goal line package. David Stone or Grayson Holton? Great question.
I would refer to the gif of why not both.
But do they have to be defensive linemen? Because I would like to see somebody like a Ryan Foje get the ball in his hands.
Oh, they're saying. I thought they were like. You're saying hand the ball to him.
That's how I took the question.
So I misunderstood. I thought they were saying defensive goal line package. Which one would you rather have out there? I'm like, probably both of them will be out there.
I think they will both be out there.
Oh, handing the ball to? Well, Grayson Holton's gotten in the end zone.
I mean, is anybody going to bring down Jaden Jackson? That little
Jaden
bowling
Jackson,
ball full of fun?
I kind of think you give it to David Stone. He's got a little bit more, I think, athleticism than Grayson Holton.
David Stone having an excellent season. Yeah. We will continue on talking defensive linemen. Speaking of David Stone and Grayson Holton, we move on to Sooner Steamroll. How many and which ones interior defensive linemen from 2010-ish to 2021 OU squads would actually get serious playing time with the 2025 Dog Pound surge?
Me and Carrie talked about this one earlier, and we came up with 3 names. I'm going to see if you can come up with the 3 names we came up with.
Are we talking just anywhere on the defensive line? Like, did you include
we said defensive
ends?
tackle. We said defensive. Yeah.
Interior defensive lineman. Okay.
So like we did not include like Isaiah Thomas or Nick Bonito.
Okay. I would consider the first name that comes to mind just off the top of my head. Let's go Jonah Lulu.
Okay. Mentioned him.
He's playing in the NFL right now.
Yeah, we mentioned him, but I think there's 3 others that are more worthy.
Let's go. God, what? Now I'm just completely blanking on his name. Playing for the Dallas Cowboys right now. Perrion Winfrey.
Yes, he was. I think he got cut.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Perrion Winfrey, though.
Perrion Winfrey.
That was one of them.
Let's go with
another guy who played for the Cowboys.
Neville Gallimore.
Yep, Neville Gallimore.
Neville Gallimore would be great under Todd Bates.
He'd be awesome.
And then let's go.
This one's a little bit more of a closer to 2010.
Okay, so not Ronnie Perkins.
No, again, he's kind of a defensive
an end. Okay,
this guy played in the NFL for a long time. Heck, he might still be in the NFL. Would not surprise me.
I mean,
He's drafted very high.
Amani Bledsoe?
No.
Oh, who?
Jordan Phillips.
Oh, God damn it.
Jordan Phillips, man. Jordan Phillips is probably the best defensive tackles OU's had since like Gerald McCoy and some of those guys.
He's played 13, 14 years in the NFL.
He was awesome.
He still
Oklahoma.
is.
I was about to say, I think
I'm pretty sure he's still on the...
I know he's on the Bills for a long time. And
I want to say he's still up with the Bills. Yeah, he was with the Bills 2 years ago, but I want to say he's still on a roster somewhere.
He certainly would play for this rotation.
My apologies to Towanda, Kansas.
Now, I will say, to this guy's point, I think all 4 of the guys Oklahoma has are in that same, like, I think they're as good, if not better, than a lot of the guys we just mentioned.
And I would imagine the high side of somebody like David Stone, Jaden Jackson, Dominic Williams, and even Grayson Halton, who I think is starting to get the recognition that he deserves.
I think Grayson Halton and Dominic Williams are both going to get drafted in April. So,
no doubt.
And then David Stone and Jaden Jackson, you're talking about, I think David Stone could go in the first round, and I think Jaden Jackson could go in round 2 or round 3.
Look how far this thing has come. Yeah, if you watch The Family Business this week, we had the another great that I think would be playing a little bit on this team. Gerald McCoy, talking about Grayson Halton, said he could be a 10-year guy in the NFL.
He's really good, man.
Very, very impressive, that first step for Grayson Halton. All right, we continue on. Least favorite horn, Shelby Sooner. Who's your least favorite horn ever? And who, if you have one, your fave?
I'm blanking on who was the receiver who returned the... Was it
Jordan Shipley?
Jordan Shipley. I remember hating him as a kid.
Yeah.
Just because he just felt like an OU killer. He was always so good.
No doubt about it.
I'm trying to think. Tyrone Swoops, when I was in college...
For beating him?
I think, was that the 2015 year that he like played...
Out of his mind a little bit?
Yeah, I remember that. That was my freshman year of college and just being like, Tyrone Swoops? Are you kidding me?
Sure.
So,
just in Peter Gardere, they stepped into... what year was that, Carey? 1984 when he stepped in? Or he went 4-0 against Texas, am I right? Or against Oklahoma as the starting quarterback for the Horns. I would say that I think that there was a unique hatred for somebody like a Vince Young, but that was basically because he was so damn good.
Yeah, and he wasn't my favorite. I don't think I have a favorite horn. But I do remember watching Vince Young and being like, I respect him because he's so good.
I always like Colt McCoy.
I like
he's he's actually a good guy.
Yeah.
Met him before. It is what it is.
I will say, Mac Brown, good friend of my father's, and he was a coach at Oklahoma back in the 80s.
I believe there's a story that he coached your dad, and you guys went and got tickets from Mac Brown at a Texas A&M Texas game one time.
Yes, and A&M upset him, and my dad Mac Brown told my dad he's never giving us tickets ever again.
Mac Brown's great.
So
Mac Brown is. I would put him on the list of guys that I just enjoy listening to. Good for the college sport of college athletics.
You know who I also hated though? I did not like Tom Herman.
I think that Tom Herman, we've said many things about the Herman family before, and we love and respect them. Carrie just said in my ear, don't do it.
I did like Charlie Strong. He was a good dude. And I interviewed him once. He was the linebackers coach for the Jaguars. He coached Teddy Bridgewater. Sorry, I'm going on a side story here. He coached Teddy Bridgewater at Louisville, and I was covering Teddy in the NFL with the Broncos. And I interviewed Charlie, and he talked my ear off for about an hour. and was just awesome. So I think he's a good dude. Terrible football coach at Texas, though.
You know, the last 25 years or so of the OU-Texas rivalry, it's been so good to Oklahoma. I think the number is 18-7 over the last 25 years going into Saturday, that you don't ever really think of like a bunch of these Texas players as guys you hated, because I think a lot of that has to do with Oklahoma having so much success at the Cotton Bowl. I would imagine on the flip side of that, there are Texas fans that could go on and on and on about some of the guys.
Baker and D.D. Westbrook, I'm sure, is on that list.
No doubt. I just think back to like even somebody like a Trey Ballard or something that made his impact in the game.
They probably hated Jason White.
No doubt. 1990 to 94 for Peter Gardere is what Kerry is reporting, and he also throws in a name that I'm sure Oklahoma fans would bob their head and agree with. Chris Sims certainly made his impact felt, giving Oklahoma fans the finger going in, or I think leaving. Maybe going in, I believe, to the Cotton Bowl at one point. All right, we continue on. 4-3 finish, playoff chances. That's certainly a discussion to be had. Price Tower, big picture question. Assume a 4-3 record through the final 7 games. What things would need to happen for OU to get into the playoffs? Which wins and would lend them the most credit with the committee? Assume a strong Michigan finish would help. Yeah, certainly you want Michigan to win out as many games as possible, certainly this weekend as they go to the Mecca.
Yeah.
I think that you start this question by saying, how many of these losses would John Mateer not play in?
Yes, I think that is a very valid question. I'm going to pretend like John Mateer's playing tomorrow in the Cotton Bowl and he's playing the rest of the season. I think the losses that you would say, okay, like those are fair, you know.
Better road, right?
Right, like Alabama and Tennessee. If you go lose to Alabama and Tennessee, like the committee's not going to be like, wow, what a terrible, obviously you don't want to go get your ass kicked there. South Carolina, another one. I think any of the road games. And then I think the big wins, like I think if you can beat Texas, like that would be huge for your, and even if Texas ends up not having a great year, like I still think that would be huge to have that. Beating Ole Miss at home, like that's shaping up to possibly be, a top 10, maybe top 5 matchup. Like if you can win that game, I think that would be huge. Missouri's going to be a ranked team. LSU as well. I think it's taking care of business at home.
Sure.
Now, if you go to go beat an Alabama on the road and you end up at 9-3, that would also look extremely good on your resume. In another point, I think if Oklahoma, goes 4-3 in these final 7 games, I think they're going to get into the playoff. I don't think
that 9-3.
I don't think it really matters which wins and which losses, because either way you look at it, every single loss would be like, I understand it, and every single win would be like, man, that's a great win.
And like anything, it probably depends on the way that some of these games were to unfold.
And it's not just about Oklahoma. There's other teams, and like, how would you? I mean, I don't think this is going to happen, but if it's a 9-3 Oklahoma versus a 10-2 Penn State that would have wins over Ohio State and Indiana, but also a loss to a terrible UCLA team, how would the committee view that? You would think Oklahoma would get the nod, but you never know. Like those are the kind of discussions that you might run into at 9-3.
Well, and if you're at 9-3, you're going to be in the discussion with a number of other teams from outside of the conference and the SEC. Obviously, some ACC teams, maybe some Big 12 teams, and that's where we'll go with the next slide here. Bob Stoops' broken pinky. Does the Big 12 and ACC have more than 3 teams combined in the playoffs? I think that we could say Miami's in. Miami's in.
Let's say Miami's in. I think Big 12's only going to get 1 in.
Tech.
And then I think it's a question of like Florida State. Who else?
I don't know. Though. Florida State already has 2 losses, right?
But if they were to win out,
sure.
Is Virginia's not going to make it. But I guess if they were to go like 10-2, yeah, Florida State's not very good, Kerry. I'm going to say they get 3 exactly.
Okay. So maybe 1 more from the Big 12 or
the ACC. I could see the Big 12, because the Big 12 is just not, I don't think very, I mean, I get it's competitive, but it's not very tough. Like if you told me Texas Tech goes undefeated and BYU only has 1 loss and it's to Texas Tech, maybe like a BYU could get in.
What about a Georgia Tech? They're 5-0 right now.
Georgia Tech, they could get in. But I don't see the avenue for more than 2 for each league for sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the ACC standings right now, and there's just
good.
not a whole lot of teams that do anything for us. And
And I would just imagine that like a 9-3 SEC team, I think would get the nod over a 10-2 Big 12 or a 10-2 ACC.
And as good as that start was for Florida State, you're looking at them. You got to look at all the way to the bottom of the ACC standings. Yep. Currently 0-2 with that loss to Virginia, obviously in the overtime game a couple weeks ago, and then on Saturday in Tallahassee to Miami. I think Miami might be the best team in the country as it stands right now.
Through 5 games, they certainly look like it.
No doubt about it. All right, one more question to go. And, of course, we're going to have to talk about the fair. TCU killed JFK. I'll listen to the theory. Favorite food at the fair?
I mean, it's the corny dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if a wax beer counts for that.
Beer.
I probably still lean towards corny dog.
Wax
I just
beer,
love it.
Corn dog.
Mustard, ketchup. What do you?
I'm a little bit of a terrorist when it comes to it. I'll go ketchup.
Okay, that's weird. I'm
not a big yellow mustard guy.
Oh, I love yellow mustard.
I just started eating honey mustard, so
honey mustard's good.
I'm trying to delve into the mustard.
If they had a honey mustard option, I think that would probably actually end up being the most used option.
Shout out Fletcher's. We love Fletcher's around these parts. I'm so excited. Can't wait for OU Texas. That's going to do it for the week of content. Of course, we'll be back here after the game on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel doing an instant reaction from down on the field at the Cotton Bowl, as well as hooking up with Kerry Burdock for the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast. And, of course, plenty of content on SoonerScoop.com, whichever way this thing goes. All right?
Can't wait.
It's going to be fun.
Let's do it.
For George Stoya, I'm Eddie Radosevich. We will talk to you on Saturday evening from the State Fair of Texas. OU Texas weekend is upon us. We'll see you then.